Hi guys, welcome! I'm your Dungeon Master DMPaulG, and today I will be giving you new information about Dungeons & Dragons' newest book. It's right there. Whew, got it right. So it's Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. If you actually go to D&D Wizard's website, you'll see all the official information there. If you also watched my previous video, I have given that to you guys, but again, just a recap, it will be released on May 29th. There will be two covers. This beautiful guy, I got it again. This beautiful guy right here. And there will be a hobby store exclusive hardcover featuring a alternate cover art by Van Skelly. If it will be again available on May 29th, it's for $49.95 US dollars. But a friend of mine has been asking how much is that in Philippine pesos since we live in the Philippines. I actually have that. It's 2,573 pesos and 10 cents. You're welcome. Going back, in D&D Beyond, if you're using it, which you should, you can actually pre-order Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. You can pre-order it right now. They also created a D&D Beyond video, an interview with Mike Merles, which features new information about the book. But the juicy parts here, the things that have made me sleep less because of the things that I've heard, and I'm willing to share all of that to you guys, is from the D&D's Twitch channel, Dragon Talk. It was with Greg Tito, Shelly Mazonoble, Jeremy Crawford, and Katie Irwin. They have dumped tons of information, and in return, I'm gonna dump it to you guys. So let's get right into it, right? The book will be like Volos. It will follow the format of the Volos book. The first part of it will be about lore and story, and the second part will be about monsters. Yes, you heard it right. The book has a total of 256 pages. It has been confirmed. And Jeremy Crawford just revealed that 130 of those pages will just be about monster stats. Yes, that's a lot. That's half or more than half of the book. And they only have a week and a half left before it will be sent to the printers. So most of the information that they have given during Dragon Talk is pretty much like 95% final. But anyway, I'm just so happy because all the predictions, speculations that I've had in my previous video, so far, I am right. So that makes me excited. So, since it is following the format of Volos, there are actually playable races. That's right. There are playable races here in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. The book focuses on Mordenkainen discussing the conflicts in the multiverse, the great wars that's going on. And so in the first part, it will discuss conflicts like the Blood Wars, the creation story of the elves, the rise of the Eladrins, the rise of the shadar-kais, which are the elves that are strongly tied to Shadowfell. And they actually discuss here about the Gith race, the Gith Yankees and the Githzerais. They have a section here also for Vlaakith, the Lich Queen that rules the leader of the Githyanki race. So there's a portion there in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. There's also a discussion about the dwarves and the Duergar, why they're fighting. And, it's not just all conflict. They also discuss here the gnomes and the halflings. How come they don't have any problems? What's with them? How come all the elves have conflicts with the drows, the dwarves with the Duergars, the tiefling being tied to the devils, and in the Blood War, devil versus demons? How come the gnomes and the halflings, they're just pretty chillax? Why is that? We'll know more in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. So that's basically the first part of the book. And on that part as well, they will give us options to play certain races. What races do we have? As if you have followed Unearthed Arcana so far, they will have the Gith races, the Githyanki and the Githzerai, that will be available. And the Eladrin as well is an available playable race. So let me see if I can show it. This is the Unearthed Arcana file for Eladrin and the Giths. As you can see, the Eladrins are elves that are native to the Feywild, and their personality is mostly tied to the 4 seasons: autumn, winter, spring, and summer. So you can change their personality based on what season it is, and they have stats here, abilities, racial traits that you can use, but these things are just from the Unearthed Arcana. What's gonna appear in the book will be totally different based on the play testing and balancing issues that they might have changed or just replaced totally with a different ability or stats. So there you go. What's making me excited though are the Giths, the Githyanki, because they have a special trait here, right here, the Githyanki psionics. What does that mean? Does that mean there's a possibility in the future or possibly in this book? It doesn't look like it, but it's a start that we may get psionics in the future. It's right there. There's actually Unearthed Arcana about psionics, so it is possible. Now that I think about it, it is possible. So there you go. Githyanki psionics ability will be available. Githzerai subclass also available. Subrace rather is also available, so they're all there. Another thing that will be available in Mordenkainen's Tome are subraces for elves. Unearthed Arcana has revealed that. Jeremy Crawford himself said that sea elves will be available in Mordenkainen's Tome. So imagine if you have the Triton, Water Genasi, and then a sea elf. Your party is just composed of those races. How cool will that be, right? So it's all there. It's all available. Racial traits might be different from the Unearthed Arcana version, but it is there. Avariel's Grugash, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Will that be available? It hasn't been confirmed, but seeing that the sea elf is there is a possibility that it is available. Shadar-kai, under the Raven Queen service, it will also be available here. So there you go. Lastly, the Tiefling. Since most of the playable races, or not rather the playable races, but most of the monsters here in this book will be about demons, devils. There's talk about the Blood War as well. The Tieflings are closely tied to the devils. But the one in the player's handbook, the Tiefling that's showcased there is connected only to Asmodeus. And again, in the Unearthed Arcana, they have revealed Fiendish options. For Tiefling subraces, there will be a choice for the players to create a Tiefling race, a Tiefling character that its legacy is connected to a different devil, meaning from a different Archduke or Archduchess. Jeremy Crawford specifically mentioned that there can be Tieflings that are directly tied to the Spater, which is gonna give you a Charisma score and Dexterity score increase. It gives you ability also to cast Thaumaturgy, Disguise Self, so that's available for you. That's also good, actually, for, let's say, a Bard of Whispers, or a Whisper Bard in Xanatar's Guide. So, good race right there. He also mentioned Mephistopheles as one of the archdevils that a Tiefling can have a connection with as part of their legacy. So these things will be available for players to use when they create a Tiefling character. But not just that, for Dungeon Masters, this is where we transition now from the usable or playable races. Oh, before we transition, I also want to mention that since there's a discussion about the dwarves versus the Duergar, there will be a Duergar playable race available here in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. So that's a lot for you to take in. So in summary, what are the things that we're gonna get? Playable races: Githzerai, Githyanki, the Eladrins, Subraces like the Sea Elves and shadar-kais, and Duergar option will be available as well. Fiendish options for Tieflings like the Infernal Origin, as I've said, with the Spater, Mephistopheles, it will all be there. And as we now transition the second part of the book, and in Unearthed Arcana, it has also been discussed, the cults. You can actually, there's a new mechanic on this book where there are additional traits or stats that you can just, like Lego pieces, you can take it and slam it to a particular monster stats that's already available. So for example, for a cultist, that the stats for that is available already in Monsters Manual. But if they worship a certain devil, like let's say the Spater, they gain certain abilities that you can insert on that particular monster stats. For flavor-wise, you can create goals for them. What type of cultists are they? The spells that you can switch around from the basic vanilla cultist stats with a Cult of the Spater. Also, they get new traits like Infernal Insight. They get advantage in all ability checks and attack rolls until the end of their turn. But that's not final yet. This is just the Unearthed Arcana version. It might have changed once the book has been released, but everything here, there's a possibility that it's gonna be in that book. So there you go. And not just for devils, also for demons, actually, will be seen, like demonic boons. So, I'm not sure, since it hasn't been specifically mentioned, except that demons will also get the ability for you to slap on a different monster stats. So it's for devils and demons. It would be great if we get like Demogorgon having this ability, like 2 Minds of Madness, and then slap it to a cultist, or actually any monster stats for you guys to go. But for Adventurers League, how will this affect play? How will Dungeon Masters incorporate this to thematically appropriate monsters? Will there be additional guidance? That's what we have to check. We'll wait for it. So there you go. These are the things that will be available in the Book of Tones. The ones that I'm showing you is the Unearthed Arcana version. The final version will be revealed once you get the Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. There. So let's go back to the awesome cover that I have here. Those are the monsters, or new mechanic that Dungeon Masters can apply to monsters. But speaking of monsters, there are things that you can put on your campaign or in Adventurers League play. New monsters that will be placed in adventures as long as they're thematically appropriate. And these monsters are actually focused on high-level characters, or for high-level campaigns, high-tier campaigns. There will be low-level monsters. There will be monsters about monster versions of the Eladrins as well, or basically the Fey versions of the Eladrins. There will also be Shadowfell creatures, but there will be monster stats of archdevils from the Nine Hells available in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. So in Out of the Abyss, you have the Demon Lords. Here in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, you have the monster stats of the archdevils of the Nine Hells. How cool is that? Will we get, since we will be getting demon stats, is it possible? Let's all pray that we get the monster stats for Loth as well. If Wizards can do that, if they will do that, I'm sure lots of players will be happy for it. And so there, not just archdevils will be available, high tier monster stats, there will also be high level monsters that adventurers can fight, and these are the Elder Elementals. An example that Jeremy Crawford gave out is the Leviathan. And he described this as like the city destroyers level or type of monsters. They are Tarask level, basically. And he said that. So these are things that you can't just defeat right away. You need to have the right magic items, right level, right skills, and right party composition to be able to defeat these types of monsters. Will Megara be here? He's an elemental primordial, right, from Storm King's Thunder, but let's see if he will actually be included or there are stats available to those like him here in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. Gnomes, actually not gnomes, but gnome team monsters will actually be present here in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. There will be clockwork monsters and constructs created by gnomes that will be available in this book. They have monster stats there as well. One of the examples that Kate and Jeremy gave out is like there's like a small frog-like clockwork creature that I'm not sure if it's just part of the artwork or there'll be a monster stat for that. So there you go. That's basically all the information that was given out regarding Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. You have tons of new playable races, sub-races. You have Fiendish tiefling options for Infernal Origins. You will have tons of high-level monsters for you guys to use for your campaign or in an Adventurers League to place for as thematically appropriate monsters in your adventures. And also stories, lore for you guys when you create your characters. How did the dwarves have this conflict with the Dwargars? How did me as a shadar-kai, where did I come from? How did I come to be? So those are the things that you can incorporate in your characters, in your stories, in your campaign. That's all gonna be given to us by this book right here. So it will be an amazing book. Can't wait till May. Once it's out, definitely gonna buy it. Gonna give you guys a review for it. But so far, that's all we know. If you have any other information, anything you want to clear out, any questions that you have for me, feel free to leave a comment below. Message me. I'm also on Twitter and Facebook. Make sure you follow, give a like and subscribe in this video, and watch out for all other videos that I'll create for you. So, how will this affect Adventurers League? Since we're getting more options from different planes, different realms, will this actually be the time that the Adventurers League team will give us all the list for access to the list of deities in the player's handbook if we create clerics? Imagine if you have a Gith Yankee cleric. Who will I follow? Will I still follow the Forgotten Realms deities, or will I follow someone else on the list? Those things we'll know once May comes, if they'll be applicable once this book is out. You just have to wait. For now, that's it. Thank you guys for listening. I'm your Dungeon Master, DMPaulG. Bye.